It's Owen from Real Social Dynamics. Welcome to Times Square at New York City. And today what I'm going to be talking to you about is how to get to the happiness that you want and the life that you want by looking at A, your inner beliefs, your self-esteem, your self-love, and B, the techniques and blueprints and methods of how to get to where you want to go.
A few months ago, YouTube began their attack on all channels related to picking up women. The power of demonetization and absolute force shut down nearly all channels containing any content about picking up women. Not coincidentally, a BBC Scotland investigation into the secret seduction community was going to be released the next day. YouTube wanted to get ahead of the social criticism tsunami of their platform hosting content that contains sexually threatening and abusive behavior towards women. The pickup artist community grew immensely because of YouTube. What were once hidden forums only found by men desperate enough to go searching for them, the community became known after the book The Game was released in September 2005. But it wasn't until YouTube started becoming a part of everyone's daily lives that the community was fully in the mainstream. The pickup artist community was an enigma as it served as a beacon of hope for many young men struggling with dating women, but was also seen as a cringy attempt at improving one's dating life for older men who could see through all of the gimmicks. What started as a bag of tricks and pickup lines turned into a full self-development clinic in becoming your best self. The community grew as quickly and at the same pace as those teaching it. During the early stages of the community, Mystery, who was essentially the godfather of pickup, was teaching a straight-line system for men getting laid. He basically turned women into objects and provided a roadmap for spiking her emotions, giving her reasons to be attracted to you, and then guiding her to the bedroom so that you could finally score. One of Mystery's mentees, Owen, decided that he wanted to attract women using a different system, a system that relied more on personality, wit, humor, and just being yourself.
What we're going to do right now is go into a video on giving you an update as far as socializing, dating, making friends, networking. We're sitting here right now in Central Park, recording this as of 2019, and there's been a lot of changes in the social climate.
Nearly 20 years later, Owen has been running the largest dating company in the world for a decade and has shown no signs of slowing down. The game's brightest star has been confronted with one of the biggest challenges his company has had to face in its lifetime. His entire collection of videos relating to the art of attracting women have been removed from YouTube out of self-preservation.
The question he said is, he asked me earlier, he said, how do you have motivation to be consistent in the gym? And I said, well, the way my brain works, like I would rather die than not go to the gym. Now, of course, I would hope that if I ever missed the gym, I would back away from that. You gotta be flexible.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you gotta be flexible in life. But why does my brain work like that? Well, it's interesting. That's actually a perspective a lot of people have. Like,
I can't explain how important these videos were to my life and hundreds of thousands of men all across the globe, and seeing them get removed forced me to sit back and reflect on one of the most important times of my life, thanks to one of the most important people in my life.
This is Owen from Real Social Dynamics. I'm out in the freezing Manhattan winter today, and the topic of today's video is that life is fucking hard. The basic principle that I'm going to present to you is that you should have non-resistance. You should get over yourself and just basically realize life is hard and handle it anyway.
It hit me like a punch I didn't see coming. December 2012, and I've gone home for Christmas break. At the time, I was struggling with finding a girlfriend and wanted to improve my dating life. Like most horny dudes in their early 20s, they stumbled on the pickup community when searching for how to get laid or how to get better with women. But too much of the advice I found was cringy and felt wrong. My friend sends me a message with a link to a YouTube video. I click on it and am so drawn into the video that 2 hours go by, and I've now watched many of this guy's videos. The channel name was RSD Tyler. The videos were Tyler discussing how to become the most attractive version of yourself with the underlying attempt to improve your ability to pick up women. The entire video was Tyler speaking directly into the camera without a script. I learned so much about myself while watching his videos that it became almost therapeutic. After doing a little research, it turned out that Tyler was the leader of a team of individuals, so I decided to check out their videos as well. For the first time, it felt like I was consuming content that could actually help me in my dating life. It turns out that Tyler is the same person as Owen. At the time, the pickup artist community contained some of the worst advice for improving your dating life. Unfortunately, a lot of the community, coaches, students, and consumers became interested in picking up women because they were coming from a dark place. A bad breakup, no interest from women, haven't lost their virginity, or constant societal rejection. That dark energy manifested itself in negative ways and could be seen within a lot of the coaches' methodologies. Women became objects to conquer, and what they insinuated was a zero-sum game. RSD was different. There was something so motivating about watching their videos. It was almost like I was experiencing a part of my brain being rewired in real time. What drew me into watching so many videos was that I could feel the personal growth from watching their videos. Self-development became priority number one.
First, going into an area where there's a lot of people, and the reason why I want to do that is because I actually want to start off by showing you the reason that a lot of people do use a higher energy to go out and meet people, because I feel like before we go into the lower energy ways of going about it, at the same time, we should at least acknowledge why a lot of people use a higher energy. Now, the basic reason, which you can probably guess, I think it's not rocket science, is that people tend to gravitate towards higher energy. It's like, why do people watch, you know, a rock movie or something like that? Why do people, what's up guys? Why do people, you know, gravitate towards that? They gravitate towards energy, they gravitate towards positivity, things like that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I began reading a lot of books, specifically books centered around dating, human psychology, and emotional intelligence. It's hard to quantify how to become a better person, but there's no doubt that I became a better version of myself. Smarter, confident, more well-spoken, and more grounded in who I was. And I think the people who were attracted to RSD's content felt the same way. Unfortunately, many young men grow up either without a dad or without the proper guidance needed to become a man. I think RSD filled that role for a lot of young men in the world. On the surface, and to those outside of the community, it appeared that RSD was just a group of men teaching others how to get laid by using pickup lines or questionable tactics. But their content was rarely focusing on the women. Their teachings revolved around the student becoming the most attractive version of themselves in order to attract the women that they desired.
These needy crushes that you get on girls that you just met is a form of lower consciousness.
Tyler focused on personal responsibility, abstract concepts aimed at clearing your head of negativity, creating a path to success, and the powers of meditation.
Hey, what up? It's Jeffy. I'm here in Toronto, and today I'm going to explore an interesting phenomenon. How the thing that you typically want to do the least is the thing that you actually need to do the most.
Jeffy focused on finding the witty side of you and letting that part of your personality prevail, and the effectiveness of being cocky and confident.
What an incredible evening for a pickup vlog. In this vlog I want to talk to you about the powerful pause, maitre thinking, a lack of connection, and scared of losing people's attention.
Alex focused on letting the most attractive version of yourself come out naturally by returning to the roots of your actual being.
The reason why almost nobody actually gets good at game.
Todd focused on tactics only because Todd is like a robot with his advanced skills of picking up women.
This is Julien, and I'm here in Houston, Texas, and what I want to talk about in this video here is how to stop giving a fuck.
Julien taught how to be a social magnet and how to create an irresistible presence in social dynamics. RSD, an acronym for Real Social Dynamics, was led by Tyler. But this was really a super team of dating coaches all assembled to chase one goal: allow the student to realize where they need to improve in life, fix the problems, and focus on solutions. Because RSD was seen as a dating company, many people believed that their only focus was to run around nightclubs picking up women. That ultimately served as a secondary directive. What was most important to the coaches was that the students removed all characteristics within themselves that would be unattractive to women. The priority was to see the student become the most attractive version of themselves so that picking up an attractive woman became a natural and expected outcome. One quote that always stuck with me from Tyler was that he would always preach that you attract what you are. This applies to all areas of life, and it served me well as I always try to audit my surroundings to figure out why I'm attracting certain events or people into my life. Tyler and the crew posted on YouTube regularly. What made their videos so excellent is they would teach a concept and then have footage of them applying the concept in a bar or nightclub. One of the most confusing areas of life for a majority of men is figuring out how to attract women. These same men are often taught how to attract women incorrectly, which leads to many of the relationship problems plaguing men today. RSD helped clear this confusion for thousands of young men. What was once an inexact science turned into a fun art, where the nightclubs were a playground where you could express your creativity, humor, and enjoy having fun, flirtatious conversations with women. I honestly think RSD saved many young men's lives. A lot of young men battle with isolation, loneliness, and depression from their ineptitude with attracting women. Sadly, a lot of these men turn to violence and drug addiction to cope with their inadequacies. RSD showed a path to progress for a lot of men struggling with their dating lives to finally attract the women they wanted. I've seen it hundreds of times. When a man improves his ability at attracting women to the point where he's finally getting dates with the women he used to reject him, you'll see his entire life change for the positive. His career, his confidence, his charisma, his relationships with others, his positivity towards the future, everything changes for the better. And this is why I think RSD saved a lot of men's lives. Henry David Thoreau famously wrote that most men live lives of quiet desperation.
You can try this as a challenge. Go home, sit down, and don't distract yourself. Don't go to your phone, don't put some music on, don't put some TV on, just sit there with yourself in silence and just see what starts bubbling up. And that voice will start getting louder and louder and meaner and meaner.
During my time in the community, I witnessed so many young men completely turn their life around and become a much better person simply because they improved their dating life from following RSD. A group of friends and I spent 12 months straight from May 2013 to May 2014 going out to bars and nightclubs in Houston, Texas with the goal of getting laid. We would arrive around 10 p.m. and wouldn't leave until 2 a.m. when the bars would close. Some nights we got lucky and found a lovely woman to go home with, some nights we didn't. It may sound pathetic and dumb to those of you who have never experienced doing this, but it was an area in life I wanted to improve and I became obsessed. The outcome was very healthy relationships in my life and a newfound sense of who I was. And I think RSD's ultimate contribution to the world was acting as the pathway for young men to find out who they really are. Members of the community went out to bars and nightclubs all around the world with the goal of getting some numbers and landing dates with the prettiest of women, but ultimately what we were all after was finding the best version of ourselves already within us. The community is not without its criticisms. I'm well aware that a lot of the people within this community as a whole are scumbags. Additionally, RSD as a company faced multiple scandals, none bigger than Julien's media scandal in November 2014 where Time magazine labeled him the most hated man in the world.
It's Owen, and as you can hear, I've been teaching all week, get my voice out, and I'm with actually the most evil man in the entire universe, ever, of all time. The most cruel, vicious, horrible man you've ever seen. Julien Blanc! Oh no!
I'm confident they'll be able to shift into a new direction now that YouTube has effectively forced them to remove most of the content that made them the leading expert in the dating industry. But it saddens me that there will be a generation of people who will no longer have access to content that changed my life and hundreds of thousands of men's lives across the globe. Since about 2014, RSD at its core was more of a self-development company than a pickup company, so they don't need to pivot too much. I'll forever be thankful for the content RSD produced and uploaded to YouTube. I hope that their new content is able to positively affect as many people as their old content did. It may just save a few men's lives who are living a life of quiet desperation.
And then you think of what kind of person you'd be if you had never found this stuff.